You do know what crowning means, right, Brandon?
Yes, I do.
You're giving birth to us?
Yeah, we coming now.
Get up, drop the bombshell. Get up, this is out of control. Get up, drop the bombshell. Get up.
What is up, BattleBots fans? Hardcore Kid here with another edition of the Hardcore Podcast. I am stuck in Memphis with the mobile blues, and today I have the very immobile Otaku Nate.
Thank you. By the way, Brandon, you know those little Reggie Rocket comments you made when we reviewed that Rocket Power episode?
Yeah?
Funnily enough, I was at Colossal Con East 2 weeks ago. I saw a Reggie Rocket cosplayer.
Delightful!
Yeah, I didn't get her picture, though. I didn't have my camera on me.
Oh, poor you.
But anyway, we got a full house full of guests this week, and we've got not one, but two guests this week.
Yes. Making his debut on the Hardcore Podcast. This guy is going to shock the world because he is none other than the Hypershock Master, Will Bales.
Hey, how's it going? Actually, Kyle's here too.
Hi, Kyle. How you doing? Now we really got a full house.
Mm-hmm.
And who else we got, Nate?
Well, we have a man whose robot gives a new meaning to the word cannon fodder. He is the long arm of the laws of robotics, and is also BattleBots' premier drink mixer from Double Jeopardy, Evan Woolley.
Yay!
Hey folks, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing? Where are you off to this fine day?
I'm going back to Orange County.
Woo!
Woo! We actually, I don't think we have another guest host, do we, Brandon?
We were gonna have Sam Elliott 64, but unfortunately he's got
I don't think
work in
we
the
have
morning.
any guest hosts on for now.
No? You sure about that?
Yeah, I think
Wait a minute, I hear something. I hear a great disturbance in the force. I wonder who it could be. I'll have to check. Who dares trespass into my candy factory?
The Queen. Bow, you pedant.
Oh no! It's Sarah Malyan from Robot Wars Shuntposting.
And BattleBots.
Yay!
Hey, Sarah. You're just in time with us to review the latest BattleBots episode.
My screen is showing me a Will Bales.
Yes?
Yes, it is.
Hi.
Yep, that was our surprise guest for you, Sarah. We did it.
I had a couple of suspicions, and he was one of them.
Yep. It's our mission to get every single robot builder and robot reviewer on this show, and we've reached the halfway point.
I haven't gotten over it yet. I got a message from Ray Billings once and literally lost my shit.
We're hoping to have him on the show someday, but we don't want to die.
The hardcore dude on the Hardcore Podcast. So this episode, this is the last episode of the undercard, and I will say this, this is hands down one of the best episodes of the show, but it's also one of the most controversial episodes of the show.
Oh, we'll get to that.
But before we get into that insanity, we must of course talk about the first match, and oh, this was the saddest match.
God.
I cried.
I was in
sad.
stitches. Like, you could hear me laughing throughout the house at the result of this.
Oh.
It is Ice Wave versus Huge.
Yeah, like going into this match, I kind of had hope for Huge, because this matchup kind of reminded me of Carbide versus Gabriel a little bit.
It was gonna be either Huge destroys the no. It's Ice Wave takes out the wheels of Huge, or Huge takes out that giant internal combustion engine on top of Ice Wave.
It probably could have.
I know which one I'm looking for.
Yeah, I did notice that Huge had a smaller blade on this time.
Yeah, they even said in the intro that they had a smaller blade on. I kind of figured that this would happen because Huge does not use solid wheels. This time they were unlike Gabriel's wheels, they're spoked. So there's less of an area for shock absorbency. So if a big blade hits those wheels, it's gonna collapse inward.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what happened. Ice Wave got one hit on Huge's wheels, took a nice chunk out of it, but Huge just kept on going, trying to get those hits in and get that engine, and then it did the splits.
Will, what was the reaction backstage to this?
Basically, everyone lost their minds, and you know, all the Roboteers, all the teams are like either watching the fights live in like a scenario that they set up, or they're working on their robots. And so all the people that are watching the fight like start gasping and like screaming, "Oh my god!" And then all the people from the pit start running towards the couches. That was a common occurrence, but this moment was probably...
It was one of the loudest that the lounge got.
Yeah, it was just nuts because Huge had such a dominating run up until now, and then they just get wrecked.
They pulled a I don't know which one was more impressive, their hit on a Vanquish or them splitting Huge in two.
It's pretty much become a gimmick for Ice Wave at this point. Just splitting bots in half like nothing.
It splits bots like atoms. There's a line for you there, Farouk, if you're listening.
What do you think of this match, Sarah?
I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
Ice Wave is in my naughty now. If I had a naughty robots book, Ice Wave's on it.
You just made the list.
I was about to say, like, the list of Sarah.
It's a big one.
I feel, but of course, with a hit like that, how can you not give this fight the John Reed Good Hit of the Night award?
It definitely goes to these guys.
Mm-hmm.
It was
I can't
both...
disagree with that one.
What? Oh, really?
Disagree. Not I disagree. I said I can't disagree.
Oh, okay. It was just, there was nothing left of Huge by the end.
And even though...
At least
Or go ahead, Sarah.
I said at least the eyes were still intact.
Thank God for the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But even though Huge got ripped in half, it does mean that it still qualifies for the top 16.
It did qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I want
means
to see more Huge.
this is not the end of Huge.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yes, we gotcha.
Oh, you must be on Horizon.
All right.
Cripes almighty.
First of all, yeah, we're gonna ask you, since you're late, what were your thoughts on Ice Wave versus Huge?
Well, see, that was a fun one because it abides by the old school legal definition of mayhem, which is losing a limb, and so I think that would count as a good example of robotic mayhem.
Sounds about right.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and Ice Wave gets the win and also gets to move on to the top 16, so we'll see how that goes.
So let's move on to the next fight, which was the Battle of the Clusterbots, the Four Horsemen versus Gemini.
One of many rumbles that would be tonight.
To be in this fight. I wanted Blacksmith to be in this fight because then it would have been a giant game of whack-a-mole.
Well, actually, Blacksmith has fought both.
Yeah. It's like...
This is also true. But why couldn't they be all in one fight? Because that just would have been amazing.
It's like strange that the only two victories that Blacksmith has is in 2 matches featuring multi-bots. Yeah.
That's strange. Much like how Captain Shredderator's victories have come against foreign-built robots.
Hey, we got Evan
hear you,
again.
Evan. And now we can't.
And now we can't.
He's out at sea now.
Yeah, well...
Technology. What, huh?
So...
Yeah, we're talking Gemini versus the Four Horsemen. I almost said Tornado there for some reason, and I don't know why.
You're 18 years too late.
Man.
Yeah, so this match, it was mayhem.
Oh god, yeah. Chaos, just absolute chaos. It's like watching the Young Bucks against, I don't know,
against Rey Mysterio,
No.
Rey Fenix, and the other person.
No, I'm talking like a big guys, like against big guys.
You know, the best part of this match was when Kenny mentioned
Heavy Machinery versus the Young Bucks. That's what
there you go. Best part of this match was when Kenny says it's like a couple middleweights versus a couple heavy lightweights, and it's like, well, yeah, that's what it is.
Literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
was a clusterfuck.
Exactly. No, the clusterfuck is the final match.
Of course, and of course, the driving though is what was the real clusterfuck in this match, because the Four Horsemen, I think, like, hit some of their own, and Gemini, well, friendly fire is always on when you've got a multi-bot, as Ryan Beaver put it.
Yeah, but it was still fun. The best part was one of the Gemini halves ended up losing drive, but the disc was still working. So the other Gemini tried to push the last Four Horsemen into the disc. And
Don't you just love it when bots become arena hazards?
it's awesome.
Sarah, what did you say?
I said the last one. Was it War, I think? The little red
Yeah,
guy.
War is what it's called.
That thing was a trooper.
Hero.
Yeah.
Will, what did you think of the fight?
It's so hard to track 7 robots at a time. So it just looks like a whole bunch of ants squirreling around, and I just wish that, I don't know, Tombstone, Gigabyte, anyone was in there, smash them.
Oh, Will, you're
mean.
cruel.
Yeah.
No. Put them in there with, like, I don't know, Sir Kill-A-Lot. He'll have fun with them.
Just drive over them all and be done in like a 30 seconds.
Out sort of pounder.
Oh, you're still upset about the shorter pounder. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm still upset about that. I cried because of you. I hope you know this.
Evan, if you're there, your thoughts on the clusterbot melee?
Yeah, I thought it was great, and it just reminded me of how foolish I was when we went against the Four Horsemen to think that, okay, once I shoot Gamma 9, maybe their blades will stop working after they chip away at poorly armored Double Jeopardy for a few hits, and I was so very wrong.
I would have loved to see you actually use the round against one of the Little Horseman bots, and probably would have split it in half.
It probably would have done a few flips with that, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't think about that, but they were a very small target, and we didn't want to miss in our first round, so our accuracy is still 100%.
This was another fun match. Gemini ended up getting the judge's decision, but unfortunately, it was all for naught, because both machines ended up not making the top 16.
For what it was, though, it was an entertaining fight from start to finish.
Yeah,
As
really
I said,
enjoyed it.
I love matches where, when you have multi-bot matches, there's going to have a bunch of stuff going on. And I always love matches that have a bunch of stuff. Like, one of my favorite fights from the UK Robot Wars is the first ever ant weight melee, just because it was sheer anarchy from start to finish. See what I did there?
Giggity. Little shout out there. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was a little difficult, even for the announcers to keep up, because the cameras were always constantly cutting to one bot to another. It was almost on the Kevin Dunn style filming, but not that bad.
I was about to say, it's still filmed better than whatever is going on in WWE.
Yeah, but it was fun. I believe both robots ended up going 2-2 overall.
I don't know.
I think they have. So hey, not a bad way to go out. So the next match, I believe this is your fight, Will.
Yeah, Will.
We don't talk about it. It's cool.
It will. No, please, Will.
No, we'll just gloss over. We can start with the first 10 seconds and then just forget the rest.
No, Will, please. Please, we're not letting you get off the hook. Tell us everything.
All right, well...
Detail.
So, one of the recurring issues this season was... Well, there were two. The drivetrain letting the magic smoke out, and the weapon getting spun up. Initial spin up on the spinning weapon, we just couldn't figure it out. We spent hours changing settings, and we had Bombshell and Minotaur helping us, trying to get it all figured out. And by the end of the event, we mostly got it figured out. The reality fight. The reality fight was actually after this fight, so it's slightly different chronologically.
Cooperating 80% of the time in the reality fight.
Yeah, but this fight, it started okay, and then basically the rest of the match, with one exception, it was constantly trying to spin up and couldn't figure it out. And part of that was the way we were, controlling it, and part of it was just system error that needed to be debugged. So most of the fight we spent driving around trying to spin up the weapon, and then when the ref would like yell at me for running in circles too long, I'd go hit Scorpios, and then we start running around in circles again. And then eventually we got flipped over, and that was it.
Up until the point you got flipped over, it was a very close match.
Yeah,
I mean, you were getting jabs in. Scorpios was getting jabs in.
Yeah, you disabled Scorpios' primary weapon.
Yeah.
Air quotes.
And from what I understand, Scorpios had to actually grab a
yes,
angle
they did.
grinder.
They
from
grabbed
the
an
side.
angle grinder from a Home Depot and just slapped it on their robot. I love that.
They added their own personal
Beautiful.
rake.
Yeah, we have it. Actually, it's here.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah,
bright
so
side, you managed to rip it off. So.
Yeah, at least the hammer smacked it off finally. I think it was a great driving match, especially for Scorpios, and taking advantage of us getting flipped over at the end.
Mm.
I think they deserved it.
yeah. I gotta say, I've fallen in love with Scorpios this season. Like, it may not be the most exciting bot to watch, but just the way it persists through each match, I respect that. I think it could go toe-to-toe with Tombstone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, make that a main event next season Discovery. Tombstone versus Scorpios. Book 'em, Dano.
Yeah, I think it could. If it can hold up to Ice Wave, I think it could do well against Tombstone. But we'll have to find out what happens. And they're showing. Is that the angle grinder you're holding?
Yeah. There's a lot more Gorilla Tape on this than I anticipated.
Looks like a record.
Yeah, it's bent.
It's a 10-inch diameter, so they signed it all, but
Nice.
it's all obliterated.
Yeah, take a picture of that and send it, and I'll post it in the video and post. So yeah, that looks really awesome. Yeah, and eventually, but you did manage to go the distance, and one of the judges actually voted for you.
Yeah, it was
nice.
it was a close fight.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I saw Kyle and I saw Derek at IMTS this past weekend, and he told us that he was surprised that he voted for us. So
What?
that was good.
That is a backhanded compliment if I ever heard it. Evan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, seeing the driving from folks like Orion and Will and Jameson this season makes me think that I really got to practice.
yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I would love to see Hypershock go a full 3 minutes at some point. I don't know
come
if that's
on.
happening.
This one time.
What a burial! Come on.
This is our only judge's decision.
Uh,
I don't like judge's decisions.
well.
I
Yeah,
don't think anyone.
You lose them all.
yeah, the judges have been very mean lately. They've been misbehaving, particularly in this episode.
Decisions, Mike Jeffries.
Oh, cripes almighty.
We'll get there soon enough.
Yeah. So Sarah, what did you think of this match?
I was really looking forward to this fight because obviously Will's a pretty good driver. If that's not inflating your ego too much. Oh shucks. But yeah, and Orion's obviously proved a really good driver in the fight against Ice Wave. So yeah, this was quite a battle of the drivers, and it didn't disappoint from that perspective. And yeah, I think the judges was fair on that. No offense, Will.
I totally agree.
So Scorpios gets the win, but again, both bots don't make the top 16.
Yeah,
This is a
Scorpios
shame.
is the only exclusion. What?
What's up, Sarah?
This fight is the second. I'll try that again. This fight is the second best good hit of the night when Scorpios does the backflip.
I tell you, those bots who do flips are killing the business, yo.
Yeah, that was really cool. It was like watching a Beetleweight do a flip over, but when in fact these are just like two big 250-pound bots flying around like nothing. It was awesome.
I was thinking about that. Cry.
Yeah. Now the big question is, will we be seeing Hypershock again?
Hypershock Mark IV.
Yeah, I mean, assuming there's
You
a
look so
war.
enthusiastic. There will.
Well, considering that BattleBots is one of the highest rated programs on Discovery, I think it's a matter of when, not if.
Well, hopefully it's long enough that it gives the builders enough time to get the bots built.
Yeah.
Since it was announced, what, 4 weeks in advance?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
I think that the best, the ideal length of time would be like 3 months in advance.
At least.
Something
Yeah,
to
more
that effect.
more time the better. We feel like if we had a month to test, or even 2 to 3 weeks to test, it would have been a totally different event for us.
Yeah.
I think you can say that about a lot of robots this season.
Well, hopefully we'll see it back, and we'll see the return of the rake. And
Oh, by the way, one nice touch.
This.
You guys brought the rake to the match. The Scorpios team brought shovels. Like plastic
gonna
blue
bury
shovels.
Yeah, they didn't take advantage of that footage, but we did have a rake versus shovel fight in the arena.
Oh.
And it's actual battling. It's great. There's a couple pictures on Instagram of it.
oh,
Okay,
nice.
I need to see this, but I think we've talked enough about this match, so let's move on to the Vertical Disc Rumble.
Or as I like to call it, the vertical disc / wedge threesome.
Wedge.
Yeah, it was Warhawk versus Endgame versus Brutus, and oh, I love all 3 of these bots, but alas, only one of them can go through. There could be only one! And so the fight starts, and they spend like the first 30 seconds spinning up their weapons, and then I'm like, go on, kill each other! And the next thing you know, I think it was Brutus, just murders the little D2 kit.
Yeah, oh god, please pay respects for Warstop.
It was actually still alive.
Okay, well then never mind.
Those D2 kits are like cockroaches. You can't kill them. They're just gonna keep coming back. Yeah, but it was actually it was a quick match. Right after that, Endgame managed to rip Brutus's entire wedge off.
That was brutal.
And then Warhawk hit Endgame.
3.
What?
What's up?
That's hit number 3.
Good hit number 3.
Good hit number 3. And then Endgame ended up doing the thing. Brutus ended up doing the thing. Warhawk just dominated both guys.
It didn't have a wedge, man. It had a plow on the front, and it plowed through its competition.
Yep. Warhawk, in all this insanity, managed to get the win, and I'm happy for Rob Farrow. I just kind of wanted Brutus. I had Brutus as my pick, though.
I had Endgame.
Woo,
I
everyone
had
had someone different. Yeah, well.
Mm.
So, Will, what'd you think of this match?
I mean, it was a really short match. I thought it was going to be a lot longer. I mean, it looked like Endgame was going to win it, but then their weapon stopped, and once your weapon stops, you're done.
And they did the thing.
The dreaded thing. Evan, you still there? What'd you think of this match?
I think I'm still here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun. I thought Endgame was going to take it going in. They had a great hit on Brutus, and I think it just shows the importance of having an invertible robot.
And lastly, Sarah, what did you think of this match?
Yeah, it was too short. I really hoped this fight would go on a lot longer, and I must admit, I had Endgame for winning it. But then, like the Brutus hit was really good, but then after that, the fight was just kind of meh.
To me, it's probably the weakest fight of the night.
Kind of.
Yeah,
which is a shame.
I would agree there.
I enjoyed it, though.
Me too.
And now, with that said, we move on to the big last chance rumble, or as I like to call it, Duck Gate.
Oh.
Bombshell versus Valkyrie versus Gigabyte versus Red Devil versus Lucky versus Duck. Now, the first thing to note about this match, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bots, but from what I heard, some other teams were also trying to enter it as well.
Reality was
Reality, and Craig Danby said he tried to get Predator into the Rumble as well, but they didn't get in, so...
I guess because Predator's fights weren't televised? I don't know.
It's some stupid stuff like that, but Oh, how do
The
we?
simple answer is they looked at everyone's fights and they looked at who was already into the top 16 and they said, okay, how are we going to guarantee the best fights? So, unfortunately for Craig, if Predator didn't have any good fights going in, there's not a whole lot of probability that all of a sudden they're going to have really good fights.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the story behind this match, and they actually had Chris and Kenny give the rules before the match, but if you die in the middle of the fight, but then you come back to life, if you die in the middle of the fight, but you come back to life at the end, you don't get counted out. All what it comes down to is that if your bot is still mobile at the end, you still have the ability to win this match.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what the judges were going for, because the match itself. I actually had Valkyrie as my pick to win.
Mine was Gigabyte.
Yeah, and Valkyrie started out all right. It managed to get some hits on the bots.
Its poor speed was its ultimate undoing.
Yeah. It ended up running straight into the screws and broke its weapon.
Mm-hmm.
To quote Mr. Psycho, "Good job." And then Bombshell got some really mean hits in, and I think this is what gave it the points.
It took out one of the treads on Red Devil.
Took out one of the treads. It was getting some mean hits in. Gigabyte was getting some mean hits in, and I love how Valkyrie was actually went up against Gigabyte's shell and was trying to spin up its blade to try and get some hits in. Which, yeah, but
Gigabyte became an arena hazard.
Yeah, it became one of those big spinners that you have in the Canadian robot battles.
Forget the kill saws, forget the pulverizers. Just put Gigabyte in the arena and let it sit still for a few minutes.
Yeah,
that's a hazard unto itself.
But then Gigabyte just stopped moving.
Well, as Jonathan Pierce would say, the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Any idea what happened to Gigabyte?
I think they've just lost their drive. We saw a similar issue in Season 2 when they became a 45-minute long arena. It's just a lot of banging into the walls. You saw a couple really big hits into the arena wall, and things are going to break.
It's a big pinball, but without the durability.
How long did it take for it to finally spin down? It didn't take 45 minutes again, did it?
No, I think they had control this time, so they weren't just waiting for the batteries to die.
So 2 minutes. Yeah. Oh, what else? There was a lot of mayhem going on in this fight, but here's where let's get to the controversy regarding the match.
Yeah, because Duck was pretty much the last one mobile. Everyone else, like Red Devil, lost its tread and was spinning in circles. Gigabyte lost its drive but could still spin. Valkyrie was pretty much dead by this point.
It kind of moved, but the
Lucky
weapon was dead.
was immobile.
And Lucky really didn't do anything in this match except for maybe one flip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but then with about 5 seconds to go, Bombshell moves again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either it was playing possum, or maybe they just lost drive, or maybe it's because they lost drive in one wheel. And
Evan,
I don't know.
Will, do either of you have the scoop on what happened?
I mean, just having watched the fight a couple minutes ago, it looks to me like there was no tactic there. They were genuinely having drivetrain problems, and so you sit there for a minute and a half trying to get your thing to move again, and eventually whatever was hindering your movement finally gives way, or you figure out a way to jostle the robot to actually kind of hopscotch away around. And that was enough to show enough movement at the end of the match.
Yeah. And it seems like they were indeed fully mobile, like they weren't struggling or anything. Must have gotten like wedged on a piece of debris or something.
Yeah, it was kind of strange, and the fight ended up going to the judges, and it was between Duck and Bombshell, and they gave the win to Bombshell based on the fact that they had the more effective weapon in the match. Duck, God bless it, even though it was still fully mobile.
Didn't do much this time around. It looked more like they were just trying to tough it out.
Yeah, it's strong, but it's like it doesn't really have a great weapon. It's mostly just a little beak at the front.
I compare it to Panic Attack. in that it's more like a control bot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's strong. I think the reason they gave it to Bombshell was that, number one, it has a more interesting weapon that'll help it in the top 16. Number two, it's a runner-up, so I think they want to get more matches out of it, because that's another point where the controversy comes in. Bombshell was 0-4 going into this match, so it didn't win any fights, and yet they still...
It's like the Cleveland Browns going 0-16, but still making the playoffs.
And still getting a tie. But, yeah, and... tie with the Steelers. And, yeah, and it's like, essentially, because people were saying that Mike Jeffries cheated, and it's like, how did he cheat?
No, he didn't cheat.
He didn't do anything.
If he genuinely had he was either he was legitimately playing dead, or he was legitimately having drive issues.
Yeah.
Leave the poor guy alone.
Yeah, it's like, and I just don't understand the hate, because if there's anybody who's there's no need to put the blame on him, because his robot was still working. He was one of the few undercard bots that were still worked. So, hey, if you have a working bot, you're allowed to go into the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And keep it. Bombshell, even though it went 0-4, it did have some exciting matches.
Yeah.
Like, I like their fight against Bronco. I like their fight against Yeti.
I like their fight against Bite Force, even though they got sued.
Yeah. And I really like Mike, and I am happy that he is in the top 16, because he's hands down one of the best builders in the sport today. One of the best builders, one of the best drivers, and to see him just get all this shit, all because the judges decided, oh, it's a much better robot than Duck, just depresses me.
I'd say, no, I'm not gonna say anything mean, although my dad has some not very nice things that he says about Mike Jeffries.
Oh. Well, no, don't say them.
I won't.
Will, do you have anything to say about all this?
I think, having watched the match again and thought about what everyone said and talking to the judges and talking to all the builders and listening to what everyone's saying, I think there's something that people are hinting on. You guys mentioned it, but it's active weapon use. I think we can all agree that maybe Duck didn't have the most exciting weapon, but it had a weapon, right? Fair? Yeah. Okay. If you look back at Saw Blaze versus Razorback in Season 2, J-Mo was dominating that fight. Okay, fine. His Saw Blade got destroyed in the first minute or so, but he was obliterating Razorback, outdriving him. He should have won it from driving alone. But the rules changed in such a way that active use of your active weapon is important, and more specifically for Season 3, passive aggression, not using your active weapon, just pushing people around, was not only not counting as aggression, but actually counting against you in a way. So, yes, Duck was being aggressive, and I think did a really good job of pushing Valkyrie into Gigabyte, and did some really cool things. I think Hal built a good robot that was robust and survived the match. But if you don't use your active weapon enough, that's going to count against you. And I think that's the crux of why Bombshell won, even though they had more damage and they spent a good part of the fight, incapacitated. But Duck just didn't use their weapon enough.
Evan, what'd you think of the match?
I was rooting for Valkyrie going into it. I think they were one of the robots over the season that was kind of most improved. I think they really worked out some issues really, really well. I think the judge's decision is totally fine. Again, there's ways to in real legal things. There's ways to challenge a judge's decision. You can make a motion for reconsideration, or you can appeal. A motion for reconsideration is not usually a good idea because it's just going to piss the judge off. And robot combat is different because you never challenge the ruling of the judges. You just don't do it. They are the final word. There's no appeal. There's no reconsideration. So one way or the other, you got to live with it. I think it's totally justified, though. Bombshell did a ton of damage. I mean, the hit on Red Devil was a spectacular highlight. And, of course, Rumbles are chaos, both for the drivers and for the judges, I can imagine. And so having to look at all that and process all that, you're going to, of course, naturally rely on things that are the highlights like that. And so the hit on Red Devil was huge, and the fact that they were still there moving around at the end, I think it makes total sense how the judges came out.
Okay.
Sarah, what do you think?
Oh, I do feel bad for Duck. Like, I don't have a problem with the judge's decision because, you know, they're going by the rules and that's their rules. But, yeah, the whole being incapacitated thing was a bit rubbish. And, yeah, I can appreciate why there's a lot of salt about it, put it that way.
Yeah, it's tricky, but I just, it's like, this has been such a solid season, and just to have controversy show up, because there always seems to be controversy in these shows every now and then.
The thing is bad publicity, though, is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, but
just one questionable decision, which, in hindsight, it wasn't really all that questionable.
It was a curious decision, but you know what? The judges just...
I don't think there's not people watching it, let's be honest.
You bloody Reddits. But, yeah, so Bombshell ended up getting the win, but it goes on to the top 16, the brackets, and unfortunately, this Rumble is both a win and a lose scenario for the winner, because guess who they have to fight in the top 16?
Oh, brother.
The most evil man in Robot Combat, Tombstone and Ray Billings. But I will say this, and we're gonna move. Let's move on to the bracket right now. We're looking at the bracket on the BattleBots website right now. This is our little bonus segment going into the last couple episodes. They have the ranking system up. This is for the next episode is episode 18, and they're going to be covering all the robots on the left side of the bracket.
Before we continue on, though, I have one question: is there any robot that was excluded that you think should have been in this bracket?
Scorpios.
Yeah.
What Warhead? Evan, you think there was anyone that was excluded that you think should have been in there?
Well, clearly Double Jeopardy.
Yes.
Sharkoprian.
Yes.
Oh.
How dare they? But yeah, I don't know. This is actually I agree with all of the robots on here.
I would say they should have had Scorpios, but I can see why they excluded it, because Scorpios was...
Yeah, it didn't have a weapon.
Yeah, it didn't have a weapon, nor did it have anything to replace it.
No weapon, then it totally should have been in, but I can see why they didn't want it in the top 16 with an angle grinder.
Yeah. But let's run through the list of bots we got going here.
So let's start off at the top.
All right. The number 1 seed, Tombstone. The number 2 seed, Bronco. The number 3 seed, Bite Force. The number 4 seed, Minotaur.
I'll speed this up. We have Sawblaze at number 5, Ice Wave at number 6, the Yeti at number 7, Son of Ogachi is 8, Lockjaw at 9, Whiplash at number 10, Rotator at number 11, Monsoon at number 12, Witch Doctor at number 13, Huge at number 14, Warhawk at number 15, and Bombshell as the wild card.
Actually, we got 2 wild cards. Remember, Lockjaw was also a wild
Bombshell,
card.
Warhawk, and Lockjaw, so it's 3. So let's run through the fights as quickly as we can. First up, let's go on the left side. Tombstone versus Bombshell. Who we got?
A part of me kind of thinks that Bombshell is gonna win it, but
Just for the song.
Yeah, because Bombshell is the design is actually capable of taking on horizontal spinners. The big wedge, and the vertical spinner, and Tombstone has those exposed wheels. So
that, and I think Bombshell can do it. I think that Bombshell can beat Tombstone, because Bombshell, they look to have solved all their technical gremlins and are fully functional. Meanwhile, Tombstone, as we saw in its fight with Duck, is starting to show its wear and tear. And I think that if Bombshell's blade can work fully and get some good hits on Tombstone, well, let's just say Reddit's gonna have a nuclear meltdown.
It's okay, though. They can deal with the salt, because after all, he is a seasoned veteran.
Oh, that's horrible. Evan, Tombstone or Bombshell? Who you got?
Me.
Just based on the dominance in the season so far, I have to go with Tombstone.
Okay.
Oh, you were at the event. Don't spoil anything.
All right, Evan. Not Evan. Will. Your pick.
Hey man, I'm pleading the fifth on all these.
Oh, okay.
There's so many fights that are gonna make Reddit butthurt that everyone needs to get a donut to sit on.
Oh, brother.
Oh, I so look forward to this.
So then we have Son of Waiachi versus Lockjaw. This is going to be difficult, but I'm going to give it to Son of Waiachi because the Waiachi boys have proven dominant in all season with Sao. This has been its big comeback season, because in Season 2 it kind of disappointed, and I thought that it was going to derp this whole season after it got wedged to death by Brutus, but I got Son of Waiachi winning this one in dominating fashion.
A part of me kind of wishes we get to see Tombstone versus Son of Waiachi. I'm not 100% sure it'll happen, but it's definitely a dream match to me. Like, Tombstone versus Minotaur was a dream match to lots of people. My dream match is Tombstone and Sal. Or Tombstone versus Razor. Yeah, but Warhead didn't get picked, so. What do you think, Sarah?
I think I'm going to give it to Son of Waiachi.
Yeah.
Yeah. No objections there. Evan?
I gotta go with Lockjaw on this one, actually.
Ooh.
Donald Hudson is the only driver that's sent one of my robots out of the arena, so I gotta go with him.
All right. Will, your pick.
No, he's
I'm not telling.
Oh, Brandon.
I'm just joking with you. But, yeah, next one we have Sawblaze versus Monsoon!
Monsoon's got this one. Because as I said, Sawblaze has not fought a big spinner this entire series, and Monsoon's going to be its big test. And Tommy Brewster, I feel, is underrated as a driver. Plus, as Tommy told us, Monsoon's body can articulate, so it can easily drive off the forks of Sawblaze.
You know what this match suddenly reminds me of?
What?
Remember Hyperactive versus Gloomy? Oh. Where Gloomy sawed right into Hyperactive's battery and it exploded?
Oh, God.
It's essentially two identical designs. Sawblaze is the Gloomy and Monsoon is the Hyperactive with the articulating body. So, Tom, I'm sorry, but I must give it to... my prediction is Sawblaze.
Evan?
Evan, your pick.
We lost him again.
Oh,
I gotta go with Monsoon on this one.
Monsoon!
Okay, and I'm assuming you're saying it too, Sarah?
I've got to, out of British loyalty, really, haven't I?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, but... Hey, I'm definitely looking forward to see who will get to the win.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, we got Spinna versus Spinna. Minotaur versus Witch Doctor.
I was going with Minotaur, but considering how bulky Witch Doctor is, I think Witch Doctor could get the upset here.
After seeing Witch Doctor against Yeti, I'm kinda skeptical. Cause,
Yeti's a much bigger bot than Witch Doctor size-wise.
Yeah, but Witch Doctor, there's a lot of like very breaky bits on it. I think if Minotaur
breakaway bits, yeah. If it breaks its main rib cage and gets it on its back, that's done. It's done. Plus Witch Doctor is also 4-wheel drive, so it's got the pushability factor, as Jonathan Pierce says.
What do you think, Sarah?
Well, as a fellow woman, my heart goes out to Andrea for Witch Doctor. Doctor, but I think probably Minotaur.
Nah. Walla Walla Bing Bang.
Evan?
I mean, both are really great. I think it could go either way. I just think Minotaur looks pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, I'm going with Minotaur too.
All right, I guess I'm the lone dissenter then. I'm going with Witch Doctor.
Woo! Prepare to have a spell put on you after this
Because
episode.
you're mine.
I want to. So yeah, that's episode 18. That's gonna be the next episode. But we're gonna talk about episode 19 because why not?
Yeah.
Bronco versus Warhawk.
Bronco's got this one. No questions asked.
Warhawk's not very
Please
good.
proceed to Warhawk will fly out of the arena.
Woo! Yeah.
Then we have Yeti.
Wait. We gotta give our guys the predictions.
Sarah.
Yeah, Bronco.
Evan.
One thing that I thought was really funny is the day after the plow disc rumble, we were pit neighbors with the wonderful folks on the Brutus team, and they were not there the next day, but there was a little sign on the ripped-off plow on the front of Brutus that said, "Good luck with Bronco suckers."
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Adam Burku, you son of a gun.
So, your predictions, Bronco?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, Bronco gets the unanimous vote. The Yeti versus the Whiplash.
This is going to be close.
Oh
yes. My God.
Two lifter spinning things.
Yeti's got the size, but I think Whiplash with Matt Vasquez could pull this one off.
Yeah. Matt's shown he's a fantastic driver. His match against Warhead was some of the fanciest driving I've ever seen. So.
Yeah, as I said, it's the only robot capable of pulling a spinning back fist.
Exactly. So I'm going to go with Whiplash on this one. How about you, Nate?
I said Whiplash.
Yeah? Just double checking.
Come on, Matt, do it for us.
Good luck, Matt. Sarah, what's your prediction?
Yeah, I'm going with Whiplash.
Evan?
Once the round of 16 was set, Whiplash was absolutely my pick and my favorite, and the one that I was rooting for to win the whole thing.
All right.
Their performance in RoboGames 2017 was insane. It really showed that they're great at repairing on a quick turnaround and getting the robot into top shape. And then the fact that how they came back after Tombstone this season was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So they were my pick from the start of the round of 16 to take the whole thing.
Yeah, and I hope they get far. I do hope they win this whole thing, and I think they do have the potential.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Whiplash for that. Ice Wave versus Rotator.
Oh, this is going to be who can get the best hit first, because Rotator's side tires are vulnerable, but that engine is a big weak point, because the engine is on top of Ice Wave, as I learned. Because as I said, the first impression I ever had of Ice Wave was that fight it had against Major Punishment, where it self-destructed.
Yeah, I don't know. Rotator's got some big discs, and the one advantage it has, one of the discs is can go above.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But as I said, that middle section is where it's most vulnerable.
Oh, this is going to be tricky.
I'm going to go with Rotator.
You know what? Why not? I'm going with Rotator as well.
Evan?
Just as a point of clarification, of course, I was there, and so these are all of my predictions that I had at the start of the round of 16, based on no knowledge gained thereafter.
I know.
Rotator was one that I was kind of surprised by their high seeding. I mean, they had a strong schedule and everything, but they didn't have as spectacular of knockouts as
they lost to a Crusher that didn't really do much damage, and what was did they lose another one, or
I think they went 3-1.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah,
they beat a barely working Predator, and beating Craig Danby, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Oh, come on. Craig's gonna kick your ass now.
Come on, Craig, come at me.
He probably could. He's built.
I can take you.
Yeah, Sarah, who do you think's winning this beast?
Not Rotator.
So you're gonna be the lone dissenting voice.
That's ice cold. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. And then finally, we have New Jersey's own Bite Force versus the Gold Team Rules Huge!
Hey, so you saw what Ice Wave did to Huge? Well, I think it's gonna suffer the same fate, but with Bite Force, because those 4 mag motors, man. Ooh.
Yeah, that's definitely the big advantage that Bite Force has over Huge.
Low enough, it has a low back, and its blade is small and it's compact, and as I said, you know, Huge's wheels are spoked compared to Gabriel's, which are solid. That's not very shock absorbent.
And having fought Tiny Huge before with Mondo Bizarro, I can definitely say you definitely need a bot that's very strong and very fast to get around and take out
Huge
those wheels.
may have impressed early on, but I feel its luck will run out. Bite Force gets the win.
Yeah, I'm going with Bite Force as well. Evan, what was your prediction?
It was definitely Bite Force. I think they had one of the strongest seasons going into this. Bite Force is an almost indestructible robot, and I mean, I'm baffled that more people don't appreciate that. Isn't Chomp the only robot to ever beat Bite Force?
Kind of like Bite Force is the only robot to beat Tombstone. So, yeah. I think, yeah. So, Bite Force, I think, has a good chance of winning this thing. I actually think Bite Force has a good chance of winning the whole season, really.
I'll tell you this right now. Monsoon is my dark horse. I think it could make the top 4, maybe even the final.
Sarah, did we ask you, who do you think... We asked you if Bite Force are Huge, right?
No, you didn't, and I'm very upset by this.
Oh, so what's your prediction?
Oh, I want Huge to win. I really want Huge to win, but I think it's going to be Bite Force.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to find out next week. And we'll have a review of it, and we're going to see if we can get Tim and Tom on. The review might take a while, because this upcoming weekend and into next week, I'm going to Battle Beach in Daytona Beach.
Just bring your microphone with you.
I don't want to bring all my equipment with me.
Dude, it's just one microphone and a USB cable. You'll be fine.
All right. I'll give it a shot.
The question is, though, you know, when will you be available for recording? Because
Saturday night, I think.
Saturday night, okay. Well,
I don't know. Get a hold of Tim and Tom and see what the story is. So.
Okay, yeah, Sarah, if you could get in touch with the two of them, please. Yeah. By all means. So I think that's going to do it for this episode.
Yeah, hopefully it recorded, since Skype Recorder didn't want to work and you had to use OBS.
Well,
it should record.
Yeah, okay.
Well.
Yes.
You know how I make lots of memes about you and how much you love me?
I may have noticed.
I totally deserve a Hypershock t-shirt.
Oh. Better give her one.
You just might have.
Because I love you and I'm your bestest fangirl and stuff, and that would be awesome.
All right, we'll see what we can do.
This is why we wanted to have you on, Sarah.
This is the only reason we're here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
ship it.
I've been doing this whole podcast just to ask Will for a Hypershock t-shirt.
You've been very patient, young lady, and maybe you'll be rewarded for your patience.
Oh, thanks. It's so lovely.
Yay. Yeah, so, only 3 more episodes of this show left.
Oh, boy, and we're gonna have to bring out the big guns for the final 3 episodes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to... We do have some ideas for some special guests coming up.
I did float one to Sarah.
And
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna see if we can get the impossible task of getting Ray Billings on.
I've got a song ready for him if we get him.
I'm sure he's going to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that pretty much covers the final episode of the undercard. And we'll see what happens. Good luck to all the Roboteers in the top 16. And what else is there to say?
I guess we should sign off.
Yeah. All right. Ooh, Evan, Do you have any drinks prepared for these last few episodes?
Oh, I think I actually have a cocktail for every robot in the top 16, so I'm good on that front. The ones that are the best drinks out of that, the Warhawk is actually really, really good. The Huge is good. You got to make it in a punch bowl, so it's a whole lot of goodness.
I'm not a big drinker, but I would definitely love a huge punch.
I would.
I just huge punched Nate right in the face.
Ouch. And I'm curious to see what the Sawblaze cocktail looks like.
Oh, that's you're gonna be 420 blazing it for the next week.
Oh, the Sawblaze is green. It's got champagne and Midori, and it's before I had refined my technique for doing the 151 float.
But can you light it on fire?
If you do the 151 float correctly, yes.
Ooh. You know what? I might drink some of this and drop on my ass dead. Dead drunk. Yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing what concoctions you're going to create. Will, happy to have you on, man.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Any new events coming up?
Oh man, what's going on? Well, we're going to be at Orlando Maker Faire in November.
Nice.
And then, I don't know, maybe something in the new year.
Are you coming to Motorama?
No, something bigger.
Ooh.
You should come to BattleBots Series 2.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
If I have stuff already, of course.
There are rumblings of things.
Rumor and innuendo, as Conrad Thompson says.
And Evan, what goes on in your future? I understand you're looking to upgrade Double Jeopardy.
Yeah, I think we actually just figured out our solution for the new valve actuation mechanism. We're moving from the funky kind of custom spring steel torsion spring to an actual real deal rotary vane actuator that's going to require a separate pneumatic system.
Nice.
And we're still working on some other things about the reloading mechanism and things like that, but Double Jeopardy version 2 should be much better, stronger. It should have actual armor and not thin paper titanium dust covers.
Well, hopefully
so it'll be way better.
Well, hopefully it'll be more than just cannon fodder. Oh!
How delightful. And Sarah, what is going on with you? Any new events coming up?
I'm going to Robo Nerd on the 29th of December, which is kind of like an event meets a convention, which is really cool. There's going to be display bots of featherweights and heavyweights, and there's going to be ant and beetleweight competitions.
Nice.
And there's cosplay. I'm doing a Nuts 2 cosplay.
Hey!
And,
Awesome.
and I'm going to be representing BattleBots as well, because we need to promote the shit out of BattleBots.
Yes.
It's gonna. I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be so good.
The Beetleweight Euros in Marlow, which is the 6th of October, by Kinematic Event. So I'm competing in that one. My little wedge. My wedge is competing. Puns and Roses is competing. It probably won't last long because I have to take my child, and it's fun competing with a 6-year-old child under your feet.
Yeah, so lots of events coming up. I got Battle Beach next week. It's run by Brian Nave of Team Captain Shredderator, Revolutionist, all those other big full-bodied spinners. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And apparently there's also going to be some have some heavyweight bots on display. I think Kraken is going to be on display. Nightmare might be on display too. Captain Shredderator. So definitely looking forward to it. Nope. Is you saying something, Sarah?
I did. I said I love Kraken because Kraken looks fucking fantastic.
We love it too.
We love it too. We're happy it got that win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the team captain Matt is Will's boyfriend.
True. Fun fact, that is truly true. Yeah.
See, you heard it first here.
Well, it's nice to have some LGBT representation on BattleBots.
But I wanted to ship Will with Sarah.
Aww. Well, your ship's been...
Another
Well, that ship has
Sorry.
sailed.
Yeah, but it was great having you guys on. I had a lot of fun. And until next time, hopefully around Wednesday or Thursday next week, we'll talk about the top 16, and we'll see who's going to win that giant nut this year. Until next time, I'm the Hardcore Kid.
I'm Otaku Nate.
I'm Sarah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's it.
That was so fucking enthusiastic, man. I'll try that again. I've been Sarah because I've never been anyone else. Bye.
Bye. Will, want to say bye-bye?
Bye-bye, Will.
And Evan, you can say bye too. He already
Bye,
signed
folks.
up.
Bye-bye.
All right. So,
Until next time, peace out and cease.
I got blisters on my fingers!